Hello again, guys. Forbes just released an article stating that the NX might be delayed, and they gave their reasons why. Basically, I'm going to say a lot of people are, especially Nintendo loyalists, are claiming that the NX cannot possibly be delayed. And I think this is an incorrect way of looking at it. I actually do think the NX could be delayed, and I do think it might actually be delayed. And the main reason for this is basically because you've heard no news about it as of yet, and this goes to tell you that they probably don't have anything ready, so they probably can't even announce anything. So that's probably why you haven't heard anything from the NX for a while. So it's very possible that they plan on delaying it. On top of that, March release is not really a good time to release it. The original PlayStation 2 was released in March. However, it was only released in Japan, where like even then it was like more like a test market. Japan doesn't really sell that many systems. Yeah, they sold like 20 million PlayStation 2s, but they didn't sell like the 50 million or 100 million that it sold in other places. Like the PlayStation 2 sold 155 million units. So just 20 million units is nothing. So even if one market gets it early like that, like Japan's not known for having holidays, especially not back then. Like they weren't like they are nowadays, where even nowadays you'll have like Halloween and stuff in Japan, but back in 2000 that was kind of unheard of. So basically they had no actual release window, so you could release it any day, anytime. It's probably even a good idea to release it in March because it's not as cold as it is the rest of the year. But then again, who knows? But my point being is that it's a different market, and in the US a March release date is just a bad time. And the main reason I think it could be delayed, especially to late, sometime in the summer, I'm guessing like around August or maybe even September. And the reason for this is because next year you're gonna have the Xbox Scorpio come out. The Xbox One Scorpio might actually be like a brand new system, whereas the PlayStation 4 Pro was like an updated PlayStation. You can say Microsoft already released their PlayStation 4 Pro with the Xbox One S, so it's pretty much likely that Xbox is going to release some system and it's going to be completely different or even way powerful than their Xbox One. So it could be seen like releasing the Nintendo NX during that time, especially if it's expensive. You can see it as them just trying to compete with other systems being released at the same time, and then that way they have a chance at beating the PlayStation 4. And this is very likely what I could see happening, and it's probably better for Nintendo to wait, just because like it's just really unheard of to release a system in March and expect it to sell. Yeah, you got Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild behind it, so it might sell because of that. But at the same time, the game might not even be done, so like it might not even launch in March because of that. So I'm guessing because that game's not done exactly is one reason why this will be delayed for a bit longer. But I mean, only time will tell. It's hard to say what Nintendo's planning. They might actually not delay it and release it in March. But I'm really iffy about that date. So I mean, and especially since we haven't heard anything as of yet, we probably won't be seeing this in March. We'll probably be seeing this sometime in late summer of next year. So I'm expecting sometime in August. That's a good date, I would say, because then we have time to save for money and other things. And at the same time, again, it's been 5 years from that point. It would be like this. It used to be game systems were replaced every 5 years. Like if you just look at the Nintendo 64 and all those other systems, before them they only lasted like 5 years, six tops. And releasing a new Nintendo system 5 years after the Wii U wouldn't be unheard of. Like especially since the Wii U wasn't selling so well, and since Microsoft is releasing their brand new system as well, it looks okay to actually release a system, especially if it's expensive. And then you'll have them competing for a different spot. The PlayStation 4, although it's been a success, I would say, and I would argue, it's not selling as well as the PlayStation 2 sold. So that market still, you can still topple that market, and it's a bit harder. The reason I say it didn't sell so much as the PlayStation 2 is because the PlayStation 2 at the 3 year mark already sold over 60 million units. And if I even don't count like the Japanese sales, from March to whatever time, it'll be even more still. It'll be like 60 something million, even 55 million. We're here at the 3 year mark almost, and the PlayStation 4's only sold like 45 million. They might get lucky and sell 50 million, but it's still below what the PlayStation 2 did. So I mean, I've heard articles saying the PlayStation 4 is the fastest selling console of all time, but I still argue it's not, and there's a reason why. The market's completely different, so consoles aren't selling like they used to back during the PlayStation 2's time. So anyways, like the thing is, Nintendo has a chance, and Nintendo has a good chance still, but they have to release it in a time that it's good. Releasing it in March is like, I mean, it's been done before. It's like been done with other systems. Like, it's hard to say, but you have to realize if you release it early, it's just gonna look mid-generation, and a mid-generation system is hard to sell, especially with a high price point. New generation system might be good. On top of that, I have to point out games, like many people are saying, like these last few years in gaming have been horrible, and I can see why. Like, even if you own a PlayStation 4, like it was hard to see games that you actually were interested in buying right away. And the reason for this is because a lot of things, or a lot of other like systems, haven't been releasing like franchise games that you've been well aware of or known of. So everything's brand new, which I think is really good, but at the same time it's like also downloadable content kind of stuff, so it's kind of difficult to actually go out and buy something. So because this last few years of video games, like people have been seeing them as lackluster, it's very possible to release a new game system and call it like a new generation. So it would be kind of a smart move for Nintendo to wait the full 5 years to actually release a system. So releasing it in August, close to whatever the Xbox One Scorpio's release will be, is a really good idea. And then you can like reinvigorate the video game market by releasing a new system, calling it like a new generation, and making it seem like Sony is the one that's behind the rest of the generation, and then that way pick up steam through those efforts. It's like them releasing, let's say, a new Wii, specifically a good time to do so. Whereas if they release it in March, it's gonna look very mid-generation, and it could backfire for Nintendo. So I would say it looks very likely that it won't be released in March, but at the same time, hard to say. Really hard to say what Nintendo's planning. Until we get more information from Nintendo, we really can't know. Anyways, guys, that's everything I wanted to say. I hope you have a good day. I'm signing out. Bye, guys.